So tell me about your dream.
So, it was one of those, feels real enough that you don't know it's a dream until things get too weird. Basically, I was walking through downtown, and something happens. I think it was just some random friend that I met up with and had a conversation, and then I separate, I walk off, and at some point along walking off, I realize that I am not wearing pants nor underwear, and I have realized that I am not wearing pants nor underwear for several blocks now, and no one has said anything, which, in my freaked out mind, I now think, alright, now just keep playing this off. No one has looked down until I find a corner that I can put my pants back on.
So you're carrying them?
Yeah, I guess they're draped over my shoulder or something.
Okay.
All I know is that I have them on my person. I'm just not wearing them for whatever reason.
Got it.
And so first time is walking down an alley. I put them on, I walk off, and whatever passes for a segue of time and dream sequence, I'm now walking through a bar. I realize yet again, no pants, no underwear. Again, no one has said anything, but I'm suddenly aware that, like, alright, someone has to have noticed. I need to just calmly walk out the back door, and I do the song and dance again, and for a third time I walk into a very nice hotel, actually have a conversation with someone, all the while screaming inside my head that I am completely naked from the waist down, pants draped across my shoulders, and I just have to keep walking and walking. Finally, I duck around a corner and into some sort of empty room where I proceed to try and put on my pants, and at this point, an officer pokes her head around the corner and goes, "Sir, we got a call." And because at this point, I'm not totally convinced in person that this is a dream, I kind of break down and go, "Oh, thank God, fucking someone help me." And at this point, I start trying to rationalize dream logic in real time, and my first reaction is, am I having onset Alzheimer's? And I am now, while trying to rationalize in my own mind the hilarious events while explaining to this officer why I may be pantsless walking around. I am neither a danger to anyone, nor am I crazy, but please help me. Help me keep my pants on. I believe I remember asking, can you test me? I don't know if I'm just crazy or someone has drugged me, but I don't know why my pants keep coming off tonight. And I wake up at about that point, and I realize, okay, it was all a dream. Now what the fuck did that mean? And somehow, in the process of trying to rationalize any of that in the waking hour, I rolled over and fell back asleep, and woke up in the dream, knowing I was now in a dream, and started freaking out even more, going, oh God, have I actually died, and this is now a very specific circle of hell. Like
So what kind of, like, how did you handle it when you went back into the dream? Like,
the second time around of dreaming didn't actually last long enough, because once I was aware that I am in a dream state, I was trying everything to get out of it.
Yeah.
I successfully did that. Felt like only a few seconds, but apparently a half hour had passed. So that was an odd one. Awkward on basically all levels.
So what did you decide it meant? Or
You know,
are you still trying to figure it out?
I haven't figured out a what or a why, but I think I might have thought of a cause, maybe some sort of symptom to it.
What do you think?
Might have had something to do with that high school reunion and the various interactions I had with people. Some good, some bad, some of them making me start to reevaluate my feelings on them and myself. And I don't know if there's a direct correlation or connection between the two events, but I think the initial awkwardness to hilarious to then actually legitimately insane events of that night do kind of match up to the sequence of events of the reunion. Do you have any ideas or theories?
Well, I mean,
or
on
similar
the
dreams?
surface, it sounds like you felt exposed, obviously. I mean, that would be my initial thought was, oh, you felt like you were putting it all out there, waiting to see if anybody noticed, and nobody did, or no, you didn't feel like anyone had. So it reminds me of a story that your dad told me once.
Oh, these always end well.
So when he was a teenager and he was living with your grandpa, because his parents were split up, he felt like his dad wasn't paying any attention to him, and he went in the kitchen and he laid newspapers all over the floor and basically tossed a salad and then dumped it. He dumped the salad over his head and down his pants and cracked a couple of eggs over his head and fluffed flour in the air everywhere and basically made a huge mess of himself. Basically, breaded himself. And then his dad walked in the kitchen, saw the newspapers on the floor, and said, "Did you spill something?" And turned around and walked out of the room. And never even looked at your dad to see this obvious plea for attention. And he felt like that was more articulate than actually acknowledging what he'd done. That summed up the relationship between the two of them, that his dad was never going to point out the obvious flaws. That just wasn't he wasn't going to point out what was right in front of his face. He was never going to be that direct with his son. And that was what your dad was looking for, was some direct communication and contact. He wasn't getting it. So he would do those crazy things, like pour salad all over his head and down his pants and throw flour all over himself. And he never got the attention that he was looking for. So, I don't know, it just reminded me of that because that was him in a very obvious life situation trying to get attention. And for you, it was in a dream where you wouldn't actually do that.
God, I hope so.
But then again, I mean, you were on the fence about going to this reunion because most of the people you were friends with, you're still friends with. And so there's no need to go to this to see them.
Yeah, I was definitely afraid of the metaphorical dick measuring contest.
Which plays directly into your dream, yeah, so I could see that. Definitely.
There might actually be another thing I just remembered. One of the people that I talked to was the boyfriend of a guy who I don't think I ever met, but
right.
he and I were talking about he and his boyfriend traveling the world and all the various things, and I brought up how I want to possibly do a study abroad. I just don't know what country to try and aim for. Just need to crunch numbers and see which one appeals to me. And I think 2 or 3 times he asked me, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want to learn? What culture do you want to experience? What do you want out of this whole thing? And because for whatever reason I didn't feel okay just saying part of this whole college thing is getting an answer to that kind of question, it was kind of hemmed and hawed about the various reasons why I wanted to do this, what all benefits each different country could give me and all that jazz, but I never actually came up with an actual answer, and that did actually bug me, that even though I was already aware that I kind of don't know what I want in life, when someone who's seemingly trying to help me is asking, okay, well, what do you want? Maybe we can work towards that. Got nothing is the feeling that I have, and kind of irritating that
Got nothing, or didn't want to share how you really felt?
Pretty much just got nothing. I don't know him enough to want to hide anything from him, and I'm sure as hell I'm probably never going to meet him again, so I don't have to worry about if I did overshare it ever coming back to bite me. So I think it was a genuine, I actually haven't figured it out kind of thing. Also, that's a pretty natural thing for me, of when it comes to me and what I want out of life, is to perpetually just not know.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because of the dream, was it that you felt like you didn't want to put yourself out there to be judged?
Mm-hmm. That's definitely an angle I didn't consider. I was just stuck on the, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what led me here. And I don't know what will happen in the next few minutes. Will I be pantsless again? Oh God. Someone stop me. Someone help me.
So what do you think the significance of the police officer being a female was?
I think, in my experience,
It's easier to ask for help from a female.
that, and the female officers, at least that I've observed, when they don't know what they're getting into, they at least seem to affect a tone of actual, sir, do you need help? Whereas
Right.
Male officer is like, sir, can I help you?
Right.
Maybe even the sarcastic, have you been helped?
Should you be on something?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna need you to put the pants on and the handcuffs on. And I don't remember what the specifics of it was, but I do remember handcuffs being offered, and I don't recall if I willingly accepted them or asked. It might have even said something to the effect of, I don't trust, so with my hands back there, that I won't unfasten something. Can I just have them up front? And then at some point I start arguing semantics of policy of the handcuffing individual. Which, again, in character for me.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
If I promise not to be a threat, can I please have my handcuffed hands in front of me? And it looks like we are now on the 12-minute mark. So I think we'll wrap up this conversation.
Alright then.
And as soon as I unrecord and turn all this in, I'm sure we'll pick something about this up later.